Number one mistake is people kind of approach that retirement age. Maybe they've got a little nest egg in their 401k. They're looking at getting Social Security. Do most of them go in and they just supplement their Social Security with a certain dividend from their 401k to reach a certain number that that's the nut they need to have the life they want? Is that basically how it goes?
Yeah, as you get into the red zone, which I call the 3 or 4 years leading up to retirement, you kind of start to get a handle on what you need to spend. I spend $73,852 or whatever number you come up with. You realize Social Security's $43,000 between you and your spouse, or $50,000 or whatever it is. There's a delta there. The delta might be $20,000-$25,000. You say, I got a nest egg, I got $1 million, or I got $500,000, and that if that produces 4%, that's the $23,000 I need to. So you do the math.
Yeah,
it's a yellow pad. It's 15 minutes of math.
Right.
You'd be surprised how many people don't do that.
Right.
So it's important to do.
How many people, when you're looking at retirement, do people come to you to talk about what happens next with their 401k?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's a big thing. The weird thing is I do see that. We know 401k is a good place to put money.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the disbursement, I don't know that people kind of understand how that works as much, or how the tax system works on that. If you pay taxes on that because they were deferred during the savings, I mean, how does that work?
Sure. So that's part of the education process of a client. When a client comes in, if they have a 401k, sometimes it doesn't make sense to roll it over, and there can be reasons for that. But also, 401ks have limited choices in terms of what you can use and buy. So a lot of times, to roll it over does make some sense. A lot of people get confused. Well, if I take it out of there, I'm going to have to pay. No, if you're not going to pay taxes, because you're going to roll it to what we call another qualified vehicle, in this case an IRA. So you can go from a 401k to an IRA. You can go from a Roth 401k to a Roth IRA. These are all things you can do. So if you have a local provider you like to use, you can do that if that's the best decision to make. And there are numerous reasons why it could be, and there's numerous reasons why it might not be.
Yeah.
And that's why you sit down and spend some time with, typically I would think, with an advisor just to run you through those options.
And I think that's super important, because a lot of people get caught up in this whole thing. They're like, well, they see a couple $100,000, $300,000-$400,000 sitting there at the end of their life. They're like, wow, I could just take this out of here, go make a big investment, buy gold, whatever the case may be. And
Bitcoin.
I love that you laugh about that. Yeah, Bitcoin, whatever, thinking they're gonna take their little nest egg they've worked so hard for, and then just kind of double that. They're gonna be living the life in Vegas every night. But to go in that with a plan and get an idea of what you're going to be, what your disbursement's going to look like, it allows you to kind of create a life plan. Where you're going to live, your habits, your hobbies, the travel you're going to be able to do, and it just seems like it would be a much easier way to handle things. Is this something you do all the time?
It's what we do day in and day out. So the planning goes, we usually start planning for somebody's retirement sometimes 20, 30 years out. Sometimes they come in and they're serious. They're like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is actually
right.
I mean, for me, I'm pushing 60 now, and I'm like, holy crap, how'd this happen? I used to be a young guy in this business. So, even for me, I'm doing it. I'm like, all right, I need to supplement my income. I'm going to get this Social Security. My wife's going to get that. We have this much money saved. That should produce this much income at this dividend rate, so on and so forth. And this thing's coming down the road where we might want to buy a second home, or whatever things matter to you. We want to fund an education for a grandchild. This is just math. People get all caught up conceptually in how confused. It's not. It's hard, but it's not complex. How much money do I need, and how do I supplement?